This is breaking news. A one world government.
I just don't know, Stan. I don't trust it.
In fact, you're gay.
A little more conversation, a little more action. A little more conversation, a little more action. Say a little more conversation, a little more action. I said a little more conversation, a little more action. The time is up, enough's enough. The time is up, enough's enough. The time is up, enough's enough. It's time we sang a different song.
Welcome back to Fact News, the most factual news network on the globe. My name is Shiraz Pinot Sauvignon. Earlier today, we reported breaking news of a police raid into several extremist queer bunkers. Hundreds of arrests, 28 casualties, and likely thousands of extremist queers still on the loose after fleeing the scene. Now tonight, for the first time ever on television, I'll be sharing unedited footage of our break onto the scene. No reporter has ever been allowed onto the scene of a bunker raid before due to the danger, but I, Shiraz Pinot Sauvignon, am willing to take whatever risk necessary to bring you the best in news. I'm here today live at the scene where I've just had a report of another queer extremist attack upon this poor, unsuspecting family residential neighbourhood. As we can see, this was a multi-storey establishment and it could have housed at least 5,000 queers. We are unsure exactly what their activities were, but we can see hazardous chemicals and plenty of gay paraphernalia. At the scene right now, we have the SWAT team investigating and trying to find evidence as to where these queers have gone. Be warned, if you see them around, they may be armed, they may be dangerous, and they may be gay. I can see equipment, I can see chemicals, hazardous substances and materials. We all know that they like to work with these. Is this a weapon of any kind?
We're not sure as of yet.
Adorable child toy? Or extremist, queer, lethal weapon of destruction? Have you found any evidence?
Not yet, but a lot of gay stuff everywhere.
Not yet, but there's a lot of gays. A lot of gay stuff here. This may look like an adorable canine, but it's actually a highly trained military operative. Do we suspect that any of the queers are in fact substance abusers themselves?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're on everything, you know, all the LSDs and cocaines and what sorts of things. You know, they do all of the naughty stuff.
All of the naughty stuff. I'm here with this poor family man who lives just next door, not knowing that queer danger was just over the garden hedge. Now, how do you feel amidst this chaos?
It's really quite horrible, honestly. I didn't quite realise there was going to be so much danger in this area when I moved in. I mean, we paid a lot of money for our house, and now something like this is going to happen, and we've got the property values are just going to go down all over the place.
At that point, we were interrupted by loud police activity. I'm hearing they've just found a body.
And now no one's going to want it. We wanted to sell our house eventually, to try and do it up and sell it, and now no one's going to want to buy in this area.
Let's have a closer look.
There are also pieces in my garden. They have no regard for lawn maintenance. No regard at all.
This looks like a beautiful residential family home. How did you know to get your team to investigate this?
Well, if you'd be so kind as to direct your camera downwards. Things like this, prime example.
Sorry.
This is a pride flag, an ultimate symbol of the queers, as I'm sure many of you know.
Sorry, are you selling that? The fire here was over 100 million feet tall. Oh, bloody hell. Clearly they were being fed. Every one of these windows, at some point, have had some plotting queer eyes looking out of them. Here we may have found some dangerous queer literature. Can you please explain this book for us?
I wish I could, but it's unexplainable.
We have visual, queers, gays underway. We have three heading in that direction. Go.
This is now a dangerous situation, but hear gunshots. There are shots being fired. This is a very dangerous situation. the charred remains of this home didn't just scorch the earth, but also the reputation of our newly formed world government. No doubt if incidents like this become more common, global citizens will question whether having a one world government is going to be a safe option.
Oh my God, what's happening here?
It's very different. There we go. The last time we sat down and we did one of these was, what was it? We were bringing Daniel back to our bunker.
Yay! Exciting!
Except our bunker wasn't there when we returned.
So we had to move to another bunker, and that was an adventure.
When we showed up, it turned out we weren't the only bunker that had gotten raided. There were a few others, and we were all consolidated into one room, and we just kind of walked into this chaos.
Well, our original bunker got raided, and now we're here, but not everybody is. Is it just you?
Yeah. Where's Scotch? I don't know. I thought she was.
No, she's not. Fuck it. Scotch is not here. I really wish that she was. And there's loads of people here, and they're all not. They all need like attention, and like because I'm helping. You know, obviously as a medic, I'm helping out. But I want to know that she's alright, if you know what I mean.
Is it just you guys? Where's Scotch?
Vesta? Excuse me, it's really weird to call me by my clone name. It's Rachel.
You remember Vesta, right?
They're still coming, dude.
Hey! Shut up!
She's gone.
Basically, Vesta is my clone name. Hello, my name is Vesta, and I am the latest clone on the marketplace designed to make your work life easier. What does Vesta stand for? Virtual, exo-organic software and technological analysis, which means all your technology in your workplace is covered. I'm also coded not to experience boredom, so any task a human finds enduring, I've got it covered. You can also customize your Vesta to any of the selected versions in our app. Make your work life Vesta with Vesta! So I was the secretary for the government that actually put us here right now. And there's loads of us.
Sorry.
Can I get anybody any water? Can I get anybody anything? That'd be a fun thing. I'm going to take it exactly. Take deep breaths. Can I help you guys? Anything you need? We're okay.
How you doing? Good?
Doing good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here.
Yeah. How are they doing, do you think?
I'm scared we're gonna run out of things, resources, you know.
How long do you think we have?
I don't know. We need to do a count, I think.
We probably don't see us.
Things are pretty bad.
But then Scotch showed up.
Did you see the hug?
I did.
Did you see the hug? That was like
You know?
a heart, like a
Like
heart.
their hearts were
Yeah.
making out.
Yeah.
Patty cake artist! Does anyone want to be another patty cake challenger? Get on up there! Do you think that Blue might be in love with Scotch? Because
we know that. I've got a feeling.
I don't even know if she likes me. If she does, then I'll find out in time, and then I'll say something. So, fuck off.
even if you do fall in love with someone, you can't really act on it without everyone else being like. Is there a way? I don't know if you can win at patty cake. Oh no!
This is intense.
I won. No. I was struggling because he called me a a bitch.
What?
I actually need a real challenger. Like, I need a real. Come on, man.
All right, last challenger, and then we're gonna move on to our next thing. All right, last challenger. Oh, we missed it.
Wow. First hands.
Everybody, can I have everybody's attention? I'm thinking that it's a good time for everybody to get our heads down, get some sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. Today has been kind of wrought, you know? I think everybody's feeling it inside themselves, so let's get some bedtime, yeah?
So, how do you think we should figure out the sleeping arrangements?
Everybody can sleep where they feel comfortable to
Yeah.
sleep, right?
I'm not sleeping next to a man.
Sorry?
We need to divide the space.
Yeah, it needs to be safe.
So you want to do like men and women?
Yeah.
Should we put the women
women
over here and men over there?
One over here.
All right.
Excuse me, this is the women's section.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Wait, they're not women?
No.
Like, definitely are.
Well, if
So
you,
real women?
what do you mean real women?
Biological women.
So if you don't want
I'm
them
sleeping
to
next to
sleep,
you.
if you don't want them to sit with you, then I'm going to sit with you. I'm a trans man, so biologically I was born a woman. So should I be amongst you? Is that what you're
Are you
saying?
a traitor?
This is a women's
Wait,
only
what?
space.
So
Women
they're all women.
only.
They are
Biological women.
What do you mean by traitor?
All the trans sort of get aggravated and so that we should be sleeping together. I don't see how that can be possible. If it's a woman's space, it's a woman's space.
You know, I don't want to see people being transphobic the same way I'm not going to witness people being racist or sexist. So I just think sometimes there's a time where you have to speak up.
You don't know what we've been through.
I really appreciate that.
But you've rejected womanhood and decided to join the patriarchy,
Listen,
and now you want to sleep
still-
next to us?
I've
mean,
lived,
what?
I've lived 25 years as a woman. Yeah,
And you rejected that?
I respect before and now the sisterhood. But I do not identify, I do not feel inside that I'm a woman. I am a man.
We've shared
And
the same
Because you
experience.
want a man's privilege.
I
And now
it's
you
not
want to join
about
us.
privilege, it's about feeling comfortable in my own skin. It's not one against the other. I don't know why you keep trying to pin it like this. I shout out for women's rights, I shout out for equal rights, and I shout out for trans rights. So I don't know why you don't keep arguing.
We realized all these bunkers that came together, some of them were separate bunkers for a reason. Women share the same traumas and have done.
I agree.
For millennia.
And so
trauma as well.
We've inherited that trauma. Therefore, we feel entitled to our safe space.
Yeah, but trans women are not out to get you. You're going to have things in common. Everyone goes through trauma.
Like, what's it? We just want a space just for women. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask?
Everybody's just trying to get They some are sleep. women. Can we just all just get some sleep? Do you think we can do that?
Is this thing going on behind us?
Opinions are lovely, aren't they? Opinions are amazing.
Fucking
I had no
idea. I don't even know what
I'm so shocked.
I don't understand why it's even a problem at all. This is
I know.
the last thing that we need to be thinking about right now.
I know, but okay, tight spaces, we've seen this, it gets explosive. We can't let them continue to talk because it's going to get like,
I think it's going to get
it's going to get weird.
Well, we need to respect what the women are saying, and if they want to have their own space,
Should
they
I
should have their
talk
own
to the
space.
women?
I don't know though, like I feel like it invalidates the trans women.
If you're safer in that space, they should have that space.
I mean, I just thought we can respect each other and just learn to get along. Like,
How about we separate women, cis women, trans women, trans men, and
But
men?
by doing that, we're immediately invalidating, you know, the fact that trans women are women.
But then are we like,
gonna sleep?
Yeah, I don't think what they were asking was unreasonable. I'm a gentleman. I'm chivalrous. All right, so I'm gonna talk to the trans people and make sure that you guys are safe. Okay?
Great, thanks.
thank you.
Hello. Hi.
Oh my god, this is a disaster.
How would you feel? Because I think the women are not feeling too comfortable about having you guys, trans people, sleeping next to him, which I think is fair.
They've not even had a say. These women have not had a chance to say anything.
Yeah, these women.
They have, but these.
Your sister was a trans woman. Are you saying you're fine with your sister being treated differently to them? Being treated less than them because they're trans?
Being treated as a violent monster.
Is that really what
is that what your sister was? Was she a violent monster who would have hurt these people?
And if those women don't want my trans sisters to go sit with them, then all of us trans men should be there too, because on that principle alone.
Are we dividing sleeping arrangements by gender or sex?
Sex. Because they're two different things.
Extremely.
I'm just so sick of people trying to act like trans people are out to attack others. You only have to look at statistics.
Statistically, trans people and trans women especially, way higher rates of violence.
Exactly. We're the ones at risk, not them.
I mean, I guess they did have a point that I actually didn't think of before. Like, if this were to happen to my sister, I think I would not have let that slide. So I actually think that makes a lot of sense. You know what, guys? Okay, actually, I think they're not in the wrong. Like they actually made some pretty good points. Like, if you're thinking that because they have what you think they have penis or anything, they should be sleeping with men, so should trans men sleep with you guys?
What the fuck?
From what I understand, that was kind of your point.
Daniel, I don't even know what he's doing in the bunker anyway.
I didn't trust him from the start. I don't know. I don't really trust men in general.
Yeah.
Oh, we want our own space.
What?
We want a safe space. We don't
Okay,
want
but everyone wants everything, you know? Like, it's not like...
We're real women.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you know what? Okay. Can we just calm down? It's not like these guys are gonna pull out their dicks. It's not like you guys are gonna be like crying bitches. Okay, can we just all sleep in the same area without having like...
Daniel did a Daniel again today. And it's like every time he meets someone that has never come across him before, he just manages to turn it all to a sack of shit. And any opinion they had of him just sort of kind of goes down the toilet.
Okay.
You know, real women.
No, okay.
I feel like he really tried to do the right thing, but it still was a sack of shit. Thank you everybody for coming together, even though you're not quite in a circle. But I think it's a good time for us right now to sit down and talk through all these issues we're having, because we can't live like this. So we have something that we used to do in our old bunker, which is that anybody who's holding the talking glow stick is allowed to speak. So from this moment onwards, I won't speak unless I'm holding it.
I mean, can I just start off by saying I think we can agree that Daniel's a fucking wanker.
Yeah.
Who'd like to go first?
I've got something to say.
Okay.
I think all beliefs are based on experiences. So instead of just saying what I think, I'll share my experience. And maybe you'll understand at least a fraction of what I mean. I came here, not to this bunker, to this land, because I lived my whole life under oppression, under the oppression of patriarchy. My whole life was dictated by the man, by the king, by my father, and even when those large figures of authority weren't there, by my fucking brothers, who I supposedly share blood with, but apparently not even allyship. Even I wasn't good enough for them. I've had every life decision dictated by those men. I've had every opinion of mine silenced by those men. I've been cornered. How can a person who has so much privilege and so much power. I don't even like using the word privilege. It's not enough to describe what men have in this world. It's just pure power and tyranny. How could I possibly relate to that? How could I possibly become one with that? How could I possibly ally with that? How could a man ally with me? Truthfully. I came here for freedom. Your life choices don't concern me. Your sexual preferences don't concern me. Yeah. All I want is the safe space that I came looking for.
I appreciate what you're saying, and you use the word privilege. I want to talk about my upbringing, but you say that we have male privilege and that we benefited from the way we were born. Was it privilege when I was a teenager and I started to self-harm because I didn't look the way that I felt I should, because people were treating me differently? Was it privilege when I was numb to every achievement in my life? Was it privilege when I knew that I was straying further and further away from the person that my parents wanted me to be, and all I saw in their eyes was disappointment? I've transitioned because this is who I am and because I have no other choice. I know what I've had to go through and what I've had to be subjected to as a result of being trans and transitioning. If it was ever an option, why would I have chosen this? All the safety I had before is nothing, it's worthless. The first 25 years of my life, I was dead inside. We're not those men.
When I came into the bunker with LGBTQ people, I thought it was going to be a lot more fun and a bit more glitter. I feel like I'm the only one with glitter on.
I was brought up to believe that we are born with XY chromosome, and that is who we are, a man, or we are born with XX chromosome, which is a woman. I was made as a clone, and I was made by the XY chromosomes by men. My whole life, my whole decisions, what I've had to do has been decided by men. I'm in danger now because of a fault in my system that men made. I feel uncomfortable being in a space with people with XY chromosomes, sleeping with XY chromosomes. And I want to take back control of my life. I've had no control ever in my life, and this is the only place, the only time that I can have control, and that is being taken away from me right now. I hope you can understand that. I understand your struggles, but I hope you can understand why I feel this way too.
Okay, so I don't mean to invalidate your struggles, but I need to kind of correct you there, and I know this is might potentially come across as mansplaining, and I apologize for that. First of all, there are more men with two X chromosomes than there are men with blonde hair. There are more women with two X chromosomes than there are women with blonde hair.
I was not.
I know you weren't aware of that,
No.
but I feel like that's worth acknowledging.
We as clones, we're very good at learning things very quickly, but everyone, when they come from a place of anger, I can't learn that.
Yeah.
I need to just ask, like, this is just sleeping arrangements. Like, we're just trying to nap for like 5 hours. Like, how is this even an issue?
I just thought that she maybe got the whole like cis women, turf women thing maybe muddled up.
I don't associate myself with man or woman. Am I supposed to sleep in the middle?
Yeah.
But like, what? How is that even fair?
Then she took the fucking glow stick.
I just want to say that as a cis woman, I feel like I spent my whole fucking life giving way to people, agreeing for people, making way for people, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want my space. I want to provide a space for people who feel vulnerable, who feel like they want a female-only space, regardless of what that reason is.
What?
Who have had their space fucking taken away from them their entire life, and who feel like people don't ever understand that and just end up bullying them more for just wanting a tiny little proportion of space for themselves. And I don't know why that's so difficult.
I just need to like relax. See, now this is why it's a good thing that I didn't tell him that I liked him. Imagine that. And they'll be like, oh yeah, but me too. And then me be like, whoa bitch, hang on a second, you're fucking tough. Right, we need to sit down before we lay down. Like,
you told me that you're not a radical feminist. Can we talk about that in this as well?
I'm a feminist. I believe that women have been structurally oppressed forever, really, and continue to be, and in ways that now are not necessarily as direct, so are harder to address. I think that the term radical is just so loaded that I refuse to use it to apply to my politics, because I think that actually, you know, we all should have these views and do have these views. It's just that they're twisted, I think, by other people.
whoa, bullet dodged. Shit.
When is this control and power gonna end against women? When is the violence against women gonna end?
When's the violence against trans people going to end?
Yeah,
When's the
violence
against people like me
remember?
going to end?
We remember that we all, whoever has the glow
I'm sorry,
stick
I just can't.
gets
Like,
to
it's
speak.
ridiculous. But we're
No, you all keep talking about power and control. Wait,
Glow
I have a fucking stick. Well, you keep talking about power and control and suggesting that we have power and control because we have XY chromosomes, maybe. I don't know, I haven't had my chromosomes fucking tested. But what part of my upbringing do you think allowed me to have control? Do you think having to hide in my bedroom just so I could express my gender properly was control? Do you think people literally breaking my bones at high school was be able to have some level of control over my life? I haven't had any level. I've had less control over my life than you. Yes, men and patriarchy is awful, but we feel it just as much as you do. And yes, men have, like, your fathers and all that have controlled your lives constantly, but it's not just the men who have controlled our lives, it's the women as well. Just all the cis people have enforced this level of patriarchy, frankly. So, I mean, I've had friends who have been murdered in the street just because they're trans, and you insinuating that trans women are men just reinforces the beliefs of those murderers. Like, they see a trans woman, they're attracted to her, and then they realise that she's trans, and like, oh, that's a dude. Oh no, I must be gay now. I need to kill them to rescue my masculinity. And you insinuating that we're men, just forcing that misconception down people's throats. Just, I don't know. Just,
let's hear from a trans. We haven't heard somebody who's a trans man. I honestly feel like.
To them first?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, whatever. Like, fine, trans women, whatever chromosomes, your experience is valid, but the only thing that we are asking, like, do you think we're fine with that? We just want to have our space of, like, you know, bio women, just going to sleep, we're all tired, we've been through shit today, we just want to go to sleep and feel safe so we can actually fall asleep, you know. So, I mean, I don't even know why we're having this conversation right now. Like, it's...
Because you guys have an issue.
We don't have an issue, that's the thing. We do not have an issue. We just want to be left alone. That's
You're
all.
we're not doing anything.
Can we remember that we're respecting everybody? If somebody's speaking with the sticks in their hand, that's the person who should be allowed to talk.
You can do a joint effort if you want.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah? Alright.
First of all, I just want to say that I think every single person in here has the absolute right to feel the way they feel based on things that have happened to them and have their experiences acknowledged and respected. I understand what the cis women are saying when they talk about their previous experiences and their traumas dictating the way that they live their lives. Someone said that the trans men haven't spoken yet, and that's often because trans men see it from both sides in a unique way that allows us to... We already understand that we have been spoken over ourselves so many times. And so when it comes to speaking, a lot of us, we like to, well, I myself and some of the people in here, I personally like to give people the complete opportunity to speak because I think it's important to hear what everyone has to say. I know you have an issue. What sounds like it's safety is what you're saying. It's about your safety.
Yeah.
Now I respect that, but I have to say, do you think that anyone in this situation, we're in a bunker, we're in the situation we're in, outside is doing exactly what we are doing to each other in here, separating us, segregating us because we're weaker alone than we are together. And no one in this bunker is in a position of extreme social power and privilege.
Yes.
No one. We really are being dominated by the same issues in different ways. Now, I personally think that if someone wants to sleep separately, then you have the right to sleep separately, but it cannot be because trans women are anything other than women, because they are women. And the experiences that they've had growing up are not the same as your fathers and your brothers and all the cis men in your life that took advantage and controlled you. Because guess what? It happened over here as well to us.
It happened to us, exactly.
And when you say, someone said something earlier about, when I explained that, about how we've lived through the same situations, I know exactly what it feels like to walk into a bar in a dress and have 40 pairs of hands touch me in that when I just want to dance. I know exactly what it feels like. And lots of us do, but I think we're more similar than we realise, and we're all in this situation because we have something that ties us together, and that is we all just want to be who we are, we want to live free, and we want to be able to love who we are and make the world a better place for ourselves.
I personally, having been socialised as a woman and having experienced those traumas and everything that Ash was talking about, and then the other side as someone, who, has been on testosterone and has had surgery, and I pass, not that passing should really be a thing, because we all just look different, full stop, everyone is different. I've experienced more violence as a visible trans person than I ever did as a cis woman. I have been very nearly beaten up in toilets. I've had people say things online, in person, and you have to deal with those things there and then, or you get killed, or or beaten up, or just your absolute dignity stripped away.
Can I add something? It's funny how majority it's been white people speaking. Majority. Now, how about I say that I don't want to sleep next to any white person because as a person of colour, I've been threatened, I've been beaten, I've been abused, I've been raped, I've been sexually harassed, I've been groped, I've been racially abused. Now, it's funny how outside there's white, cisgendered, heterosexual, whatever people out to get us, but here we're marginalizing ourselves. The enemy of an enemy should be a friend, right? It's funny how it's majority white people speaking about this issue, but me, as a non-binary, how do you think my culture and my people have reacted to me? and then being othered by white people as well. How about I don't want to sleep next to any white person, and I'd rather sleep next to someone of color because I feel safe.
You said something about where are these men that can be allies. I've lived 25 years in the shoes of a woman, and I've had my share of all kinds of trauma, and I feel like I've lived those experiences, and I just think like being transgender isn't a choice. It isn't even political. I'm just being who I am because that is who I am. And the politics, well, that comes after that when we have to defend ourselves and fight for our rights. I think there are allies in this room if you could just get past your ignorance and the hatred.
I'm done feeling sad about the shit things that happen to me. I don't want to see myself as a victim. I don't want to live as a survivor. I want to be a pure fucking warrior. And if that means tackling the difficult social situations that I can hear just coming out of this room of like, what, how many people? Then I really feel like what the problem is the communication across everybody. And it's not about saying, oh, this really bad thing happened to me, because yes, it happened to you and that is really not okay. But it's about moving beyond that and forward and sharing that and having a baseline respect for everyone and asking questions. Because I feel like if everybody got to ask everybody 5 questions that they don't think that they could talk about, their level of understanding would get them fangs out of the fence of trying to attack each other. And that's where the fear and the panic comes from. So I feel like this has probably been one of the best things that we could do. Even though it's difficult and even though it's hard, we can move beyond that. We can move beyond that, but it means having this forum for this conversation and not trying to put yourself in the centre of your own trauma, but considering that we are living in the present day and this is how it's been for us in the present day, and think about the younger generations that have not yet had to experience anything, that are coming in innocently blind. How are we going to cushion them so that they don't end up in the same place we are?
Thank you everyone who's spoken. It's been enlightening. I don't want to be in conflict with any of you, and I'm sorry for what you have been through. I think we need to realize that we're all just scared people. We're all looking for community. We're all looking for safety. Even if we don't agree on what that looks like, we can at least agree we've got more in common than what separates us.
So I think that we've all got to agree that we're not going to absolutely see everybody's perspective, but I feel like everybody's voice has been heard somewhat. But we need to come to a place of love and a place of courage. You know, everything that we've done thus far.
What's one thing you have in common with this side? Would you agree?
Yeah. I feel like I'm fed up and I want change.
That we feel invisible sometimes and our voices don't get heard.
Yeah, agree with that? Yeah? What's one thing that you have in common with that side?
I'm hungry.
What can you promise each other and what can you do?
We'll give you space, but you have to acknowledge that we have a lot more in common than you think we do.
I appreciate that.
And what can you promise them? And what do you need from them?
I need to have boundaries. Like, we're different people, we have different life experiences, so you need to give us space to do our thing and understand that we can't be part of your thing because we've got our own.
But what can you give them? How can we make this community? Stop thinking about it as in like you versus them. What can you give these people that is something that we all communally can have? What's something that you want?
Respect.
Can you give that?
No.
All right.
But then you want respect as well, and you want us to respect our space. We want respect.
Is there anyone over in this camp that can give respect? What can you give?
Respect.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Although it was not unanimously positive, the very fact that we sat down is fucking good and a step in the right direction.
I feel like the only reason that it did end peacefully was because they're women. They're women. And the only reason the trans men approached it the way they did and it ended peacefully was because they're women in the inside. And I don't really know how to reconcile these things. Yeah.
I mean,
at the end of the day, we're all here to survive, so we have to be in the same space, and it's hard to acknowledge, but I guess I'm in the minority, so I'm gonna have to try and fit in, whether I want to or not. So.
Some things just can't be reconciled in one conversation, so some people chose to take the risk to relocate.
Thanks for your support. Be safe.
After our experience with Daniel, we realized that's likely the best. See ya, bye.
Bye, see you never.
Ah, fuck, Daniel.
Hey, did you come here to make fun of the cis white male?
No, I didn't actually. I came to just see how you are. Like,
I'm good. I feel like again I messed up a bit.
no, it's difficult. I feel like you're in a difficult position as well because like of how people see you. You are what they're talking about. You know, you are the big bad patriarchy.
Yeah. No, and it makes sense. And actually, maybe it wasn't my place to, step in. It was probably not, my conversation to be had for them to speak for them. I just wanted to do something good, but sometimes I think it's important to know how to step back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm learning that.
Whether or not it was your place, like, you did that, and like, I'm glad you did, because we got to have a really important conversation that I think we needed to have with all those different fractions of people in our new community. And maybe that wouldn't have happened if you'd have not done your piece.
Yeah, it's a process. I guess learning is not. I still have to realize. It's just honestly, it's like being woke is really tiring. I just want to go back to bed.
I love the irony of that. Being woke is tiring.
Yeah, honestly.
Don't worry, man. You're on the right path.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came back.
And me too. I just need someone to let me know what the fuck is all about with these terms. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, man, it's heavy. It is heavy.
I'm not transphobic. Like, when people tell me that that's what I am, it makes me quite angry because that's not what I am. I'm not phobic, what means scared. I'm not scared of trans people. For example, if there's 2 biscuits and I prefer a custard cream to a bourbon, that doesn't mean that I'm scared of the bourbon biscuit. Or that, I don't even respect bourbon biscuits because I respect all biscuits' right to exist.
Well, is it okay to still love somebody if they're a transphobe and you're queer? Am I gonna be kicked out of the club? Have to hand back all my membership and uniform just because of how I feel about her?
I have trans friends. I like trans people. It's not about that. It's just this idea that guilt shaming me.
Does that make me transphobe adjacent?
Please don't be offended by our rudeness.
Or do.
I think yeah, it's gonna be okay. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I think
Daniel, look at the message that we just received. I
Is it-
think it's for you.
it's for me.
It looks like you can go home.
I believe.
Shit, they found us! Go, 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 go!
I love you in a gay way.
Conversation, a little more action. Time is up, enough's enough. Time is up, enough's enough. The time is up, enough's enough. It's time we sang a different song.